The first thing he took from me was time. I woke up on cold tile with my cheek pressed into something sticky. I tried to move and learned quickly what he had already decided for me. My wrists were zip-tied behind my back. My ankles were spread and chained to opposite corners of the room. I couldn't even curl up. The position forced my chest open, exposed, like meat laid out before cutting. The room smelled wrong, not rot, not blood, cleaned blood. A plastic curtain hung from the ceiling, gently moving even though there was no wind. Behind it, I heard breathing, calm, patient, like someone waiting for a pot to boil. I tested the restraints once, hard. The zip ties bit into my skin immediately, sharp enough to make my hands tingle. He had tightened them, knowing I would struggle first. Then he stepped into view. Apron, gloves, no mask, middle-aged, tired eyes. He looked at me the way a mechanic looks at an engine that won't start. Annoyed, not angry. "Oi, you're awake," he said. "Good. I hate doing this part alone." I opened my mouth to ask where I was, who he was, anything. He raised a finger. "Not yet," he said. "Begging only works if you understand what's happening." That's when I noticed the timer on the wall. It was already running. The timer was digital. Red numbers. No labels. Just minutes bleeding away. He pulled a metal stool close and sat where I could see him clearly. Close enough that I could smell soap on his hands. He wanted that. He wanted me to notice how clean he was. "You don't scream yet," he said. "That comes later. People waste it." I asked him what he wanted. My voice cracked on the last word. He smiled at that, not wide, just enough to show he'd heard it. "I want honesty," he said, "and effort." He reached behind him and rolled out a small cart. Knives, but not the kind I expected. Short, precise, tools, not weapons. He picked one up and tapped it lightly against his glove. "I don't cut until someone asks me to stop," he said. "That's the rule. If you don't beg, nothing happens. Timer hits 0, I go home. You get another day." My heart jumped so hard it hurt. Another day sounded like hope. It wasn't. I knew it wasn't, but my body didn't care. "And if I beg?" I asked. He leaned forward. "Then I decide how much you mean it." He stood, walked behind me, and I felt his breath near my ear. "You'd be surprised," he whispered, "how long people last before they ask." The timer clicked louder in the silence. I realized then he wasn't waiting for my fear. He was waiting for my choice. I tried not to look at the timer. That was my first mistake. Every second it moved, my body reacted like something was crawling under my skin. My legs shook against the chains. My hands went numb, then burned, then went numb again. He stayed quiet, standing just out of reach, watching me learn what waiting really felt like. Minutes passed, maybe more. Time didn't behave normally there. He broke the silence by washing his hands again. Slow, careful. The sound of water filled the room, too loud, like it was meant to drown out my breathing. "You're doing well," he said, drying them. "Most people panic by now." I laughed. It came out wrong, sharp and broken. "So if I don't beg, you just let me go?" He looked genuinely confused. "No," he said. "I let you think about it longer." He picked up the knife, not threatening, casual. He pressed the flat of it against my forearm, not cutting, just enough pressure to let me feel the cold metal. "This is where it changes," he said. "Right here. Your brain starts bargaining without asking you." The blade slid up to my throat and stopped. "Say it," he whispered. Just once, you don't even have to mean it. I clenched my teeth so hard my jaw ached. Tears ran anyway. My body was already begging without permission. The timer kept counting down, and I realized something worse than fear. I wanted him to stop. I broke before the timer did. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't dramatic. It slipped out of me like a reflex I didn't approve of. Please, he froze, not like someone surprised, like someone satisfied. He slowly looked at the timer, then back at me, as if confirming a measurement. Then he nodded once, small and precise. Good, he said. Now we can begin. The knife didn't cut right away. He traced lines on my skin first, following veins, joints, places that reacted when touched. Every time I flinched, he adjusted, memorizing me. Studying. You said it too fast, he said calmly. That usually means panic. Panic fades. He leaned close enough that I could see faint scars on his wrists. Old, careful scars. We need depth, he continued. Real begging has structure. It has escalation. He pressed the blade just enough to break skin on my shoulder. A thin, bright line opened, warm and sharp. I screamed then, loud and useless. He stepped back immediately. No, he said, almost disappointed. That wasn't it. That was noise. He wiped the blade clean like the cut offended him. Use words, he said. Explain why you deserve to stop. My body shook violently now. Blood ran slowly down my arm. The timer beeped once. He smiled wider this time. That sound, he said, means you don't get another day. And suddenly, begging wasn't optional anymore. I begged the wrong way. I said everything people say in movies. I promised things I couldn't give. I swore I'd be quiet, obedient, grateful. The words spilled out fast, tripping over each other, my voice breaking into useless sounds. He listened for maybe 10 seconds. Then he shook his head. That's fear, he said, not begging. He moved closer and pressed the knife into my thigh this time. Slow pressure, enough to hurt without cutting yet. My whole body arched against the chains. Begging is specific, he said. It's personal. It's when you stop talking about yourself and start talking about me. The blade cut, deeper than before, clean, deliberate. I screamed and he didn't stop. He watched my face like he was waiting for something to click. Tell me why I should care, he said calmly over my screaming. Tell me why you are worth more than the others. Others. The word hit harder than the knife. I choked out apologies. I said his name even though I didn't know it. I said he was right. I said I understood. I said I deserved it. That finally did something. He pulled the knife away and sighed, almost relieved. There it is, he said softly. You're learning. He crouched so we were eye level. You know the worst part? He asked. Even if I stop, you won't stop begging. And he was right. I couldn't stop. He stopped cutting long before I stopped begging. That's the part people get wrong. They think mercy feels like relief. It doesn't. It feels like being abandoned mid-fall. He cleaned the wounds carefully, wrapped them, injected something into my arm that made my limbs heavy and my thoughts slow. I thanked him while he did it. I didn't even know why anymore. The words just came out, automatic, rehearsed. When he was done, he stood over me and removed his gloves. You'll live, he said. I don't keep the ones who break completely. They get boring. He leaned in close, his mouth near my ear. But you're ruined, he whispered. That's better. I heard a door open somewhere. Fresh air touched my skin. Then the chains were unlocked, one by one. like he was undressing a meal he'd finished. I don't remember leaving. I remember waking up in a hospital. Police. Questions. Blank looks when I tried to explain why I kept apologizing to everyone who spoke to me. They never found him. But sometimes late at night, I hear a timer in my head, counting down nothing, waiting for a choice that isn't there anymore. And when I feel scared, truly scared, my first instinct isn't to run, it's to beg, because he taught me something that never healed. He taught me that asking to stop can become a habit. I didn't know people were disappearing until after I moved in. The house was cheap for a reason I didn't bother asking about. Old neighborhood, lots of foreclosures, basements everywhere. Mine smelled like damp concrete and rust, but it was dry enough to store boxes, so I stopped thinking about it. That was my first mistake. 3 weeks after I moved in, the police knocked on my door, asking if I'd seen a woman from 2 houses down. I hadn't. They asked if I'd heard anything strange at night. I said no. That was a lie, but I didn't know it yet. The noises started as dull thumps under my feet. Not pipes, not the furnace, slow, uneven impacts, like something heavy being shifted across concrete. They always stopped when I went down the stairs. The basement would be empty, quiet, smelling faintly of bleach I never used. Then I noticed the lock. The basement door had a deadbolt on the inside. I don't remember installing it. I don't remember noticing it before. One morning it was just there, sunk into the wood, scratched and worn like it had been used for years. That same night I heard screaming. It wasn't loud. It was muffled, controlled, cut off mid-breath. And underneath it, clearer than anything else, I heard a man humming. I didn't call the police after that. I stood at the top of the basement stairs with my hand on the light switch, listening. The humming continued for a few seconds, calm and steady, then stopped like someone had been waiting for me to react. The next morning I convinced myself it was stress. New house, new neighborhood, old pipes. That lie lasted until I checked my phone and saw a missing person alert. Another one. Different name. Same block. I started paying attention after that. Every night around 2:10 a.m., the basement noises came back. Dragging, wet impacts, a sound like a freezer lid being opened and closed, and always, faintly, the humming, the same tune. Slow, careful, almost gentle. I tried locking the basement door from my side. The next morning it was unlocked. I put a chair against it. The chair was in the kitchen when I woke up. On the 4th night, I heard footsteps on the basement stairs. Heavy ones. Ascending. Each step deliberate, like whoever it was knew I was counting. I grabbed a knife and stood in my bedroom doorway, shaking so hard my teeth hurt. The footsteps stopped right under the door. I could hear breathing now, close, patient. Then a voice, calm and conversational, drifted up through the floorboards. "Don't come down," the man said softly. "I'm almost done with her." I didn't sleep after that. I sat on my bed until morning, knife in my lap, listening to the basement breathe. At some point the sound stopped. No footsteps, no humming, just silence so deep it felt staged. When daylight came, I told myself I'd leave. Pack a bag, go anywhere else. I made it halfway down the stairs before I smelled it. Metallic, sweet, rotting. The basement light was already on. Something new was down there. A table bolted to the floor. Plastic sheets taped to the walls. Hooks sunk into the ceiling joists like they'd always been part of the house, and stains. Old ones. New ones. Some still wet. There was a woman on the table. She was alive, barely. Her eyes followed me, begging, but her mouth was wired shut. Her legs were gone below the knees, wrapped tight in bandages already soaked through. This wasn't panic work. This was practiced. Behind me, the door clicked shut. I didn't turn around. I didn't have to. "You weren't supposed to see this part," the man said, disappointed. "The basement keeps people safe, keeps them quiet." I felt his hand settle on my shoulder, warm and steady. "She won't last," he continued calmly. "So now I need help." The knife slipped from my fingers. "And you live here now?" I don't remember agreeing to anything. I remember being strapped to a chair instead, wrists bound tight enough to make my fingers go numb, ankles fixed to the floor. He worked calmly, methodically, humming while he adjusted the restraints, like he was setting a table. The woman was gone when I looked back. The table was clean. Too clean. "She stopped fighting," he said, noticing my eyes searching the room. "That's usually when it ends." He rolled a cart toward me. Tools laid out in neat rows. Knives of different sizes, a bone saw still wet at the teeth. He picked one up, weighed it in his hand, then shook his head and put it back. "Not for you," he said. "Not yet." He crouched in front of me, close enough that I could smell him. "Soap, blood, basement damp. I use the house," he continued. "People move in. People disappear. Basements hide noise. Neighbors don't ask questions. It's perfect." He stood and turned off the light above the table, leaving only the bulb over me. "I don't butcher everyone," he said. "Some people help. They clean. They watch. They learn." From somewhere behind the wall, something thumped. Slow, weak, still alive. He smiled for the first time. "You'll last," he said. "Most don't." Then he went upstairs and locked the door from the outside. Time doesn't work in the basement. The light above me stayed on. I know it did. But my eyes burned like it was days. My wrists swelled. My legs cramped until the pain turned dull and distant, like they didn't belong to me anymore. At some point, he came back. I knew before I heard the door. The air changed. That same clean soap and blood smell slid down the stairs ahead of him. He didn't rush. He never rushed. He untied my right hand and pressed a sponge into it. "Clean," he said, pointing toward the drain in the floor. I shook my head. I tried to speak. My jaw wouldn't work. He leaned in close, his voice calm, instructional. "If you don't," he said, "I bring the next one closer. You'll hear everything." I scrubbed hair, skin, the pieces I didn't recognize as human until they clogged the drain, and he calmly cleared it with his fingers. He watched the whole time, correcting me when I missed spots, when I gagged too loudly. When I finished, he retied my wrist and nodded, satisfied. "Good," he said. "You learn fast." That night, he didn't lock the basement door. He left it open. From the dark corner near the wall, something started breathing faster when it heard me crying. By the third day, I understood the rules. He didn't need to say them out loud. The basement taught me. If I stayed quiet, no one screamed near me. If I worked, the pain stayed somewhere else. If I hesitated, he corrected it. The thing in the corner died first. I helped carry what was left of it to the drain. My hands stopped shaking halfway through. When the police came back to the neighborhood, I heard them from below. Radios, doors, voices asking questions that never reached the basement. He stood beside me, listening, perfectly still. "They always come," he whispered. "They never look down." That night, he brought a new woman, younger, still fighting. He handed me the knife without ceremony. "You live here," he reminded me. "So you help." I don't remember crying. I remember how heavy the knife felt, how normal it became in my hand. Weeks later, the house went up for sale. He packed his tools carefully, cleaned everything, left the basement empty except for me. Before he went upstairs for the last time, he unlocked my restraints. "You don't have to stay," he said almost kindly. "Someone else will move in." I didn't follow him. Now I hear footsteps above me again. New ones. Curious ones. And somewhere deep in my chest, beneath the fear and the rot, I feel the tune starting to come back.